don't know who's writing you.
Who the hell is sending me fan mail? Like, my sub 200 YouTube channel is actually getting physical fan mail? We should still see what the masses have to say, right? Get a haircut, you dirty hippie. Did you steal your hair from 2006 Anthony Smosh? And I am delighted to hear about Whiteland 2's inclusion in F-Zero. Oh, she got my letter. One more here. I like your style, but you could work on your vocabulary. Reading books can help with that. Reading books? I'm plenty verbose. If you want proof, I'll talk about a book. But you're not gonna like it.
Books are some of the most valued and cherished things on this planet, and they have been since the dawn of recorded texts. And it only took 2007 years after the death of Christ for Sonic the Hedgehog to fuck it all up. It's kinda hard to believe that there was a time pre-Sonic movie where Sonic was a household name, but that was before, the incident. I can sit here all day and dog on Sonic 06 because it's one of the worst games ever made and is barely even playable sometimes, but you knew that already. You don't need me to tell you that. What you do need me to tell you is that Sonic had a rough transition to 3D, and hang on, there we go. Bet you never heard that before. This whole era of Sonic can just be defined as seeing what happens. Like, what do you mean Shadow the Hedgehog didn't stick? Did they not see we gave him a gun? I think that game flops because there was a very specific way you had to enjoy that game, and I don't know if people knew that or not.
Still very much treading over new ground here. You've probably heard about how bad these games are time and time again, but what you haven't heard is what came after this. I meant more in terms of Sonic, but I can work with this.
I don't know what it is about these Storybook games, but they feel like they shouldn't exist, like they came out of a wormhole through time and space.
Funnily enough, that's exactly how I feel about Luigi's Mansion.
This duology all started with Sonic and the Secret Rings, which only came about in the first place after they scrapped the idea of porting Sonic 06 on the Wii, and sometimes I genuinely wish we got that instead because it would have been one of the worst things mankind has ever produced. Opioid epidemic, close second. If you don't know about these games though, you're probably wondering why they're called the Storybook games. Well, it's because they both take place within literary settings. Sonic and the Secret Rings is based in Arabian Nights, and Sonic and the Black Knight is in the medieval era during King Arthur's rule. Why?
As we all know, Sonic fans can't read, so Sega wanted to give us a way to enjoy these stories.
Even the Wikipedia article just breezes by this decision, and they wanted to make it this way. Big fucking whoop. Initially revealed under the name Sonic Wildfire, that's hard as hell, the trailer features some gameplay in Sonic not wearing his wrist strap on his Wiimote. Jesus Christ, man, that's gonna hurt someone. Just by taking one look at the gameplay, showed people that this time it was gonna be a different kind of 3D Sonic game. One focusing more on settings and world building than just speed or platforming. A very unique decision, but gamers back then had more open minds than they do now. Hitting store shelves on February 20th, I didn't buy it, I was too busy being 2 years old. Sonic and the Black Knight, however, I remember getting that one, I think maybe in 2010. I know I had Secret Rings as a kid, I think it might have been one of my brother's games they gave to me, I don't know.
We'll delve more into Black Knight's pre-release later, but we've got 2 whole reviews to get through here. So excuse me while I take place in the greatest American pastime of bitching about Sonic.
So, upon booting up the game, we see the Sega logo, a warning that he should heed, and we're off to the main menu. We've got the options of adventure, I'm gonna live in blissful ignorance and pretend this doesn't exist and move on, options, and a special book. I know I'm supposed to be reading, but I don't care that much to be honest. So jumping into the adventure mode is seamless. We just press the button and get right into it. We have to start the tutorial and we're given some exposition. This cutscene is very long. The whole story of this game is that a character from this real book comes out of it into Sonic's world and needs his help to defeat the Eraser Djinn. Apparently, he's been mucking up the world of the story, and by mucking up, I mean fucking up. He's erasing the world itself in order to do the same to Sonic's world. So Sonic needs to collect the 7 world rings and have all 7 rings in his possession to defeat him. Bad read, I'll think of something better. So, the great guy he is, he's in. And now, all my hopes with this game die immediately upon one problem. The game is an auto runner controlled by motion controls.
That's not the only thing. The game also called me fat, and Sonic said he's gonna beat my ass.
So, Sonic moves forward automatically, and to steer to go backwards, you have to tilt the Wiimote. I'm not someone who trips out over motion controls and think they're the spawn of Satan himself, but even I can admit they're pretty bad here. Like the homing attack, the game will decide when to lock on your opponent, and then you have to shake the Wiimote down quickly to fly towards into them. Like, I have an idea. This goes completely unused. There are also a lot of tutorials for how little mobility options you have, and this takes a while. Like, if you're gonna make the tutorial mission-based, at least do me a solid and make it optional. It's honestly crazy how many of the game's problems are just put on display this early in the game, but we can delve more into those later. After that, and another long cutscene, we're placed in the game's first level. This first level doesn't do anything crazy. There were times where I thought we were gonna get a cool set piece, but just didn't. That's not a bad thing, however. Level-wise, this game keeps a lot of its cards close to its chest and only shows them off later. Like some of the levels near the end, I actually remember enjoying the last one. But for now, you got a dumb sand level, a dumb dinosaur level, a factory, a floating prison, and credit where credit is due, these actually do play to their strengths and do some pretty cool things with their theming. I like the moving gears and platforms in Evil Foundry, the birds you can trail behind on Levitated Ruin. These levels in a vacuum really aren't too bad. Unfortunately, they're not in a vacuum. They're in Sonic and the Secret Rings, where fun goes to die. But this game doesn't use the act system of the classic games, or the mission-based system from Sonic 06, it actually uses challenges to progress through the levels, almost like a precursor to how Generations would work. Unlike Generations, however, these missions are not very fun, but neither is the entire game, so I shouldn't really be surprised. Some of them try to do something cool, like this dinosaur one, when you have to get all the correct eggs in the nests, but most of them are just get rings. Don't get rings. Kill enemies. Don't kill enemies. Almost every single challenge just takes place in the first level of the world. They may make one more version of it, but more often than not, you're just going to be playing the first level over and over again with different contexts and objectives to little with no changes. There's also these race ones where you have to defeat the God of Wind in a race, and these are okay. They're more fun than the aforementioned ones, and they actually go through and change the level design up a little bit to make it fix the context of a race. While Generations would have you beat a level's Act 1 and 2 to progress, Secret Rings just has you beat the first level, and from there it's a fucking gamble on where you're going next. Beating a challenge in a level will typically unlock more challenges, I mean duh, but where those challenges are isn't said. It tells you when you unlock one, but not where. And if you're just plowing through this game like I am, 1, God I'm so sorry, 2, these new banners over each of the levels aren't going away anytime soon, so they're not very helpful either. It also isn't very clear as to which missions will progress you further. Sometimes it's explicitly stated in the cutscenes what the next goal is, but half the time it's not. You just gotta take guesses. That sucks. My fucking god, do I have anything positive to say about this game, like, at all?
The roleplay. Talk about the roleplay. Talk about the roleplay. Do the roleplay. Do the roleplay.
Oh yeah, the roleplay. As you progress further into the story, some of the main supporting characters are actually played by characters from Sonic's world, like the King being played by Dr. Eggman, or Knuckles playing Sinbad. To be honest with you, I want to make fun of this and be all like, oh, that makes no sense, and get all tropey on you. Like, hey look guys, it's my evil counterpart forcing me to review Sonic 06. Isn't that so funny? Isn't that so funny and original? No, I think it's cute, and otherwise these fan favorite characters would just be completely missing from this game, so I think it's pretty neat. So Sonic and Shara travel through each of the worlds in search of the 7 world rings so that he can have all 7 rings on his person. Damn it, I feel like I'm close. Sometimes you gotta beat a boss, sometimes you just stumble across one. Sure. Speaking of bosses, we only have 4 excluding the actual real final boss, so we'll get to him later. But in the base game there's a scorpion, giant robot, crab, and a razor himself. They all suck. Okay, too aggressive. Like the levels, the boss fights are okay in a vacuum. Giant scorpion that you gotta hit the eyes of? Cool. Ripping horns off a giant pirate crab? Dude, hell yeah. The main problem with them is the controls of the game itself. You have no idea when the homing attack will work. The giant robot is especially bad, since going backwards is nearly impossible. If you miss an attack, you have to go through a complete circle in order to get that chance again. None of that applies to the first Eraser, that fight just sucks. More praise? Sure thing. This might go without saying, but the music's pretty damn good. It's early odds Sonic. It's practically a given the music is going to be good. Some standouts are the main theme itself. It's not that bad, especially if you like early odds nu metal or butt rock. The first level theme, the Levitated Ruin one, the Pirate one, pretty much any of them except for the Dinosaur Jungles theme. I don't remember the Arabian Nights having this much dinosaurs though. So, Also a feature in the game is the skill rings, which I'm not gonna lie, have a place in a Sonic game. I like the idea of this, but again, Sonic and the Secret Rings can't do a damn thing right. Skill points in games should be fun new moves and like stat boosts, but these just aren't fun. Instead, Sonic and the Secret Rings just does, oh, now the game sucks slightly less. Like, a backwards attack that's pointless? Awesome! I feel so rewarded as a gamer, Sega. That's why I haven't even touched Bloodborne yet. Why should I? There's no backwards flip kick, let alone 7 world rings. I've beaten this entire game. I don't even know what those are. Apparently, they're the 7 world rings that bind the stories together, and they're all based on emotions, but like, they don't do anything with that. Basing them on emotions honestly feels like an afterthought. Like prayers and wishes, aren't those just the same thing? Hunger gets left out, but you're gonna make 2 rings for what amounts to the feeling of desire. Also, rings 6 and 7 are technically post-game content, as the credits roll when you beat the first Eraser fight. So, because I hate myself, I got them all, and holy shit.
I like this.
I spent a long while bashing this game, so when it does something cool, I'm gonna call it out. Darkspine Sonic is badass. The Adidas stripe down the whole design is very late 90s nu metal. You can't convince me they didn't know exactly what they were doing. He also just doesn't take any shit in this form, and props for not making his dialogue overly edgy or cheesy. Combined with that sleek purple and the shiny rings, I like this design. If every single aspect of this game was about 1/10 of how cool Darkspine Sonic is, it would be a masterpiece. But no. Dinosaurs weren't even in the Arabian Nights. This game is also from an era of Sonic I really do miss, where you fought fucking biblically accurate angels for final bosses. Villains who have the power to rewrite or destroy the universe get to fight Sonic, and also be ridiculously hard, but for once that's not the game's fault. I actually do like this final boss. I think the design is cool, the fight doesn't rely on gimmicky, accurate motion controls, and I mean, they're here, but they don't ruin the experience. My only complaints are... That didn't feel impactful at all. It doesn't feel like I beat the shit out of him. It feels like I blew raspberries on his tummy. And also, the final boss theme is just 7 rings on each finger. It would be cool if the theme was like a remix of the main theme, but no, it's just the main theme looping with no altercations. And hell, I'd be cool with that if they didn't play this song constantly. It's the damn mission select theme. Anyway, you beat the boss, and Razor Jin's voice actor hits the perfect vibrato for some reason. Then, after that, after everything you just put up with over this game's 6-hour runtime, after all the bullshit you just endured, how's it all end?
I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs. Now, just let yourself cry, as much as you need to. You'll have plenty of handkerchiefs to help you through it.
I don't really know, I always end up throwing stuff at the screen after that part. Well, now that we beat the story mode, it's time to repeat our daily affirmations. Blissful ignorance can only get you so far. If you have a cognitive brain, then you know this game's adventure mode isn't very fun, and its motion controls are anything but responsive and far from intuitive. Now imagine taking all of those problems and putting them into a Mario Party clone. You start up the mode and, oh my child, that's cultural appropriation! For how fleshed out this party mode is, I just don't feel like talking about it. The minigames are ridiculously hard to control and the premises just feel half-baked. The modes are whatever, and they made my main man Silver, the only good thing to come from the incident, unlockable. You can unlock Shadow, Silver, Blaze, and Cream by playing the story mode and collecting Fire Souls in each level. Just pretty much the red rings of future games. I don't want to, however, so they're stuck to be grayed out forever. All the modes or whatever, the only one I remember is the boat one, because I actually really like how this area looks. It's honestly a very pretty scene in a game filled with mostly drab environments. The minigames are super clunky to control, and that's mainly because of the fact there isn't a single minigame where you don't use motion controls. Even Mario Party 8, a game that prides itself on being the first entry on the Wii, throws you a bone and gives you some minigames where it's only button inputs. There's not a lot of them, but still. Yes, the cornerstone of the Arabian Nights. The baseball minigame. A frustrating amount of times you will miss input due to how janky the controls are. But I can't lie, sometimes it was to my advantage. Truly, the jank giveth, and the jank taketh away. Also, for some reason, Dinosaur Jungle and the dumbass pirate level I don't really care to check back for the name for are coming back in Sonic Cross Worlds. Just wanted to end this segment on that thought.
Well, that wraps up about the first half of this duology. Does this game deserve to be put up there with Sonic 06 as one of the worst entries in the series? Not really. Did the concept invoke that much potential in the first place? Again, no. And does it have its fair share of issues? Were you even listening to me? Just a pretty unpolished, gimmicky mess, but I mean, come on, baseball minigames? Dinosaur? Still, I can already feel myself becoming more verbose. Like, you know what the word call-by means?
Cabal line.
That's what I thought. On a Sonic the Black Knight.
I forgot to bring this up in the first portion, but the fully rendered cutscenes of these games are actually spectacular. They look very polished, and Black Knight really puts the stuff they were using to work. There is a lot to unpack here in this first cutscene. First of all, I mean, they should have crowned Sonic for this alone. Second of all, looks like the plot of this is going to be pretty much the same. Villain the story is threatening the world. Sonic goes fast. What more could you want?
Well, I want him to put in those chili dogs. They're stressing me the hell out.
Third of all, the roleplay returns, and these designs kick ass. King Arthur's especially, this one just rocks. So what are the differences between this game and Secret Rings? Well, it's not an auto runner. You there, God? It's me, Hunter. I know you're big for that, dude. A much bigger difference, probably, is the addition of melee combat with your sword. I mean, you can probably guess how this is controlled.
Whammy bar.
motion controls. Here, however, they aren't the bane of my existence. The gameplay is like if Sonic's high-speed platforming was combined with hack and slash elements, so you're going to be playing it like this a lot, but I mean, which do you prefer? What do you mean neither? I will admit, the game can become a little monotonous and tiresome, but I mean I'll take that over the game just not functioning and actively fighting against me. The sword also adds an entirely new level of depth to the game by adding more mechanics and control methods. Like how homing attacks don't kill enemies anymore, you have to use your sword on them. Also, due to this, the game feels way more satisfying to play. I really like mowing down enemies and speeding through the levels. It's kind of like a regular Sonic game combined with a Warriors game. I don't know why no one else has tried this again, but maybe it's because I'm the only person in the world who likes this game. Other than that, the gameplay loop is pretty much the same. Go to a new world, play its first levels, and play through the rest of its challenges in order to assist the woman who called you here in getting the right materials to stop the bad guy. In Secret Rings it was the World Rings, and in Black Knight it's the Sacred Swords, which each one being earned by beating the Knights of the Round Table. These fights are pretty underwhelming to be honest. I feel like I was able to just damage boost my way through them and win on like my second try. Also conceptually an improvement on Secret Ring's normal monster type bosses. Also when you beat Sir Gawain, Knuckles' character, you unlock the Medal of Gawain, which when equipped changes any level's music into Unknown from ME from Sonic Adventure. That's pretty funny. Upon completing a level, we don't have any skill rings to unlock, we actually get treasure. You can spend some of your identification points on uncovering Silhouette, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and pretend like I care about this feature. Instead of equipping modifiers to a ring, Black Knight just has us pick up items to equip at the blacksmith and change our attributes. These, however, aren't as game changing, which could be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. I'm choosing to believe it's a good thing, as the base mobility you have is actually much more fun than even Secret Ring's fully leveled up one. In fact, how about I just list some of the many improvements that also separate this game from its predecessor. When you play a different challenge in the world, the level design is actually different from the first get to the goal mission. Upon unlocking a new mission, it tells you where it's located. How fucking hard was that? The end of level rankings isn't just some arbitrary medal anymore, it's a star-based system, which is the next best thing to actually grading your performance. For two games that kinda share the same graphics quality, the set pieces and levels in Black Knight look astonishingly better. Secret Rings is way too dull, but Black Knight looks like a world I genuinely want to explore. Also, there's no quote-unquote rings in this game. There's ring fairies that kinda serve the same purpose, but I mean visually it makes it feel distinct from any other Sonic game. The cutscenes look better, the homing attack doesn't blow my dick off, Shadow and Blaze are freed from the exclusivity of being in the multiplayer mode, and the Wiimote talks to you.
Have I made it clear I don't like this game?
Once again, this might go without saying, but the soundtrack is phenomenal. More hits than misses unlike Secret Rings. Crush 40 poured their hearts out on this one. Good for them. It definitely paid off. Anyway, once Sonic and his talking sword defeat the knights, he's allowed to face King Arthur. Beat him and the credits roll. This takes less than an hour. Something Black Knight borrows from Secret Rings actually is the fake out ending. While Secret Rings does it near the end with 5 out of the 7 world rings collected, Black Knight does it literally halfway through the game. Yes, this game is only like 2 hours long. I do prefer shorter games personally, but this is honestly ridiculous. The fake out ending shows up right when the game actually peaks, so if you didn't know that there was no more to the game than this, I honestly understand being pissed, especially since this King Arthur fight sucks. However, Black Knight's post-game actually reveals a huge plot twist. It turns out Merlina created King Arthur and she wants to use the power of the sacred swords to make the entire kingdom live forever. Which doesn't sound that bad on paper, but I mean, come on, look at this. We gotta put a stop to this. What I really like about Black Knight is the different playable characters in the campaign. You actually unlock every member of the Knights of the Round Table to play in every level. That's super fucking neat if you ask me. They also play differently, like Shadow or Lancelot teleporting for his homing attack and Soul Gate rush, or Knuckles having his glide and Blaze being able to summon fire. I don't know why they didn't give Knuckles the ability to cling onto walls, however. Seems like kind of a missed opportunity to have him sheath his swords and use his fists like he already can do. Anyway, a barrier is formed around the castle, but unfortunately it's way too weak, so we gotta step in and solve things through communication and transparency. Just kidding, we get another Sonic transformation and holy shit.
I like this too.
Okay, objectively, Darkspine is cooler than Excalibur Sonic, but also objectively, kiss my ass. Excalibur Sonic is way cooler, especially this cutscene, my god! The sleek gold plating, the spiky edges, the blade of Excalibur itself, man, this shit rules! Also, the real final boss, unlike Secret Rings, actually uses a final boss theme that kills. The guitar solo especially goes nuts. Also a little easier than Secret Rings, but just as impactful. While the bosses in that game weren't very consistent, the bosses here provide better pacing and quality. In the end, Sonic talks Merlina down from being a nihilist and helps her realize that the beauty in life having an end, and he gets crowned the new king and credits roll. While Secret Rings ending had me like this, Black Knight's had me like this. That wraps up the main campaign of Black Knight, but what about its multiplayer mode? I don't own 2 nunchucks, so I don't really know. I will say I think it's weird how you can play as the regular versions of Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze, and their Knight counterparts. Once again, Silver gets snubbed, and that's upsetting. I also want to end this segment by saying I think it's neat how the 7 world rings actually appear Black Knight as collectibles, and collecting them unlocks the Crush 40 cover of 7 Rings in Hand to be listened to. I would like to now get serious here if I may. I can clown on secret rings literally my whole life, but Black Knight actually means a lot to me, I'm not even kidding. The themes and how they tie into Sonic's characterization going forward was so inspiring to impressionable 8-year-old me, living life to the fullest and appreciating what you have and helping others in need. I hate to sound corny and all, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say this game didn't have an impact on me. Like, the save file I made for this video, I just plowed through to get the footage, but the one I made as a kid? See what I mean? I enjoyed this game thoroughly, and I will always appreciate it for what it taught me and led me to become. Your years are numbered and limited, and we only have so much time on Earth. Let's get hammered. Probably unknown to most people is the fact that there could have been plans to make a 3rd Sonic Storybook game. Sega held a fan poll to gauge interest and see what literary world they'd like to see Sonic in next. There were 5 options. Film noir like a detective spoof, which Sonic then proceeded to do later. Horror, something like Dracula was mentioned by name. Sci-fi, western, and then there was the winner of the poll, Greek legends. Sadly, nothing ever came from this, as the poll was simply made for fun. Could we eventually get a God of War-esque Sonic game in the future as a 3rd Storybook game? Who knows? God knows it would give me more stuff to talk about. With that, however, was the final page of this chapter in Sonic's history. For now.
So there. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't like Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I like Sonic and the Black Knight, and I f***ing hate books. I don't need them. My vocabulary is perfectly fine, and it will continue to be perfectly fine. So now you know. If you send me fan mail with constructive criticism, I'm gonna use Sonic the Hedgehog to get out of it. Working well with others? Yep. Color theory? Surprisingly. Driving skills? Sure. Gunplay? You f***ing know it.